Plato, yes, the same man we credit with shaping Western thought, had a hidden fear. Not of war, not of tyranny, but of women's desires, and what he believed they were truly capable of if those desires went unchecked, might just change how you see relationships forever. He never said it outright. That wasn't Plato's style. He spoke in riddles, dialogues, metaphors. But buried inside his greatest works, like the Republic and Phaedrus, there's a tension. A quiet alarm, and if you know where to look, you'll find it. Because Plato wasn't just trying to build a city-state. He was trying to tame chaos. And in his mind, there was no force more unpredictable, more emotionally volatile, more quietly dangerous, than unchecked female desire. Plato was obsessed with balance. With reason, with harmony. To him, a just society came from the soul being in perfect order, reason over spirit, spirit over appetite. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Plato believed most people, men and women, lived ruled by appetite. Desires, impulses, cravings. But here's the twist. While he believed men could train their desires through philosophy, he feared that women's desires, shaped by nature and emotion, were far harder to control, and far more dangerous when left unchecked. In Timaeus, Plato wrote something few modern philosophers dare to quote: "Women are the result of men who lived cowardly lives." That wasn't a joke, it was a worldview. He believed women were governed by the body, emotion, reproduction, seduction, not the soul. And therefore, they required greater external structure, society, family, male guardianship, to keep their desires aligned with virtue. In today's world, that sounds controversial. But to Plato, it wasn't about sexism. It was about chaos versus order. He feared that if you gave female desire total freedom, without discipline, it wouldn't create harmony. It would create decay. Imagine for a moment, you brought Plato into 2025. You show him TikTok, OnlyFans, #soft life, boss babe, culture, hypergamy, emotional detachment branded as empowerment. He would see a society where appetite rules everything. Where reason is mocked, where people, not just women, are slaves to what feels good. But most disturbing to him, he'd see a culture where female desire has been untethered from any shared vision of virtue. And he'd probably whisper to himself, the soul has no guardian here. In Phaedrus, Plato gives us his most haunting image. He describes the soul as a charioteer driving two horses, one noble and controlled, the other wild and chaotic. The wild horse, that's desire. It pulls hard. It doesn't listen. It wants what it wants. Plato believed men could train that wild horse through philosophy. But women, he feared their wild horse ran stronger, unchecked, hidden behind beauty, charm, vulnerability. And that's the terrifying part. Because if the horse pulls hard enough, the charioteer loses control. And the whole soul crashes. So here's a question no one wants to ask. What if Plato was right? Not just about women, but about all of us. What if we live in a world that encourages the wild horse, and laughs at the charioteer? What if the highest cultural value today is, do what you want? Look around, divorce rates up, meaning down, people don't feel free, they feel lost. Maybe Plato's fear wasn't about women. Maybe his real fear was that desire, once unleashed, never reins itself back in. You don't have to agree with Plato, but you can't ignore the warning hidden in his work. He believed civilization only survives when desire bows to wisdom. And right now, the world seems obsessed with pleasure, emotion, validation. But allergic to truth, reason, and restraint. Whether you're a man or a woman, the question remains, who's holding your reins? If this opened your eyes even a little, share it. Because somewhere out there is someone still believing desire leads to freedom, when in fact, it might be the very thing enslaving them. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And check the pinned comment for the next video in this series. We're diving into Freud's dark theory about female fantasy next. Plato warned us. We just didn't want to listen.